supposed to be a triumph. The cameras were flashing, the crowds were gathered, and the world was watching. But the moment the Duke and Duchess of Sussex stepped out of that black SUV, you could feel it. A tension so thick it was like a physical presence. This wasn't the picture-perfect moment they had planned. Harry's jaw was clenched so tight it looked like it might crack his body, moving with a stiff robotic reluctance. And beside him, Meghan was smiling, but it was the kind of smile that doesn't reach the eyes. It was a smile that looked like hard work. For a brief moment, it followed the usual script. The waves, the pose turns for the photographers. But then, cutting straight through the noise, a single voice from the crowd shouted out 4 devastating words. "Stop using our children." And in that instant, the entire carefully constructed performance fell apart. You could see it on Harry's face. A flicker of panic, his eyes darting away as if searching for an escape route. He didn't look to his wife for reassurance. Instead, he grabbed her arm not with affection, but with a sense of pure urgency, and practically rushed her inside. The cameras caught the couple, but they missed the truth. What the world witnessed that night wasn't just a bad moment. It was the sound of a fairy tale collapsing in real time. But to believe this started in New York is to miss the whole story. The cracks in the foundation had been spreading for months, visible to anyone who knew where to look. Rewind to that public appearance with Kevin Costner. While Meghan was in her element, working the crowd and reaching for Harry's hand for a perfect photo op, Harry himself seemed a million miles away. His body language was closed off. His smile was strained, and there was a palpable sense of irritation simmering just beneath the surface. He looked like a man who would rather be anywhere else in the world. This wasn't a one-off. At other events, analysts noted how he would often lean away when Meghan spoke, how his hand would go limp in hers, instead of returning the grasp. These were the quiet red flags, the soft launch of their public unraveling. The New York humiliation wasn't the beginning. It was simply the first time the cracks became too wide to hide behind a smile and a wave. So what could cause such a dramatic shift? To find the real answer, you have to rewind the tape to their trip to Paris. On the surface, it was Meghan's big fashion comeback. Balenciaga the front row, the flashbulbs. But behind the glamour, insiders whisper about a series of quiet humiliations. The outfit she wore, for instance, wasn't a gift from the designer, a standard practice for A-list celebrities. It was reportedly borrowed. In the cutthroat world of high fashion, that's a silent signal. A message that her star power isn't what it used to be. But that was just the prelude to the main event, because then came the tunnel. The Pont de l'Alma tunnel. The very place where Harry's mother, Princess Diana, tragically lost her life. Meghan's team filmed her there, a soft smile on her face, a scarf draped elegantly around her neck. She would later claim she didn't realize the significance of the location, but that claim was met with widespread disbelief. Those who have followed her journey know she studied Diana's life meticulously. This wasn't a coincidence. It was a deliberate, calculated choice. The fallout from that Paris trip was by all accounts explosive. Behind closed doors, sources describe a confrontation unlike any they'd had before. Harry was reportedly furious, devastated that the sacred ground of his mother's death had been turned into a content opportunity, a backdrop for a photo shoot. He demanded to know how she could be so insensitive. But Meghan, ever the PR professional, was allegedly calm and dismissive. Insiders suggest she defended the clip as just that, a clip. She told him it wasn't that deep. But to Harry, a man whose life has been defined by that trauma, it was the deepest betrayal imaginable. This was the man who had defended her against the entire British press, against his own family, against the world. And in that moment, he found himself facing a line she had crossed that he simply couldn't defend. For years, he had been her shield. In Paris, he finally put it down. And that is the key to understanding the man we saw in New York. The Harry standing on that red carpet wasn't angry. He was empty. The fire of his fury in Paris had burned out, leaving only the cold ashes of exhaustion and resignation. When Meghan reached for his hand, he didn't pull away, but he didn't hold it back either. It was the hollow gesture of a man who has argued so many times that the words have lost all meaning. Meghan would later try to reframe the tunnel incident, spinning it as a form of therapy, a way for Harry to confront his trauma. But those close to the situation called it what it was: desperate damage control. She had taken his most profound personal grief and turned it into a storyline. And it seems that was the moment Harry finally saw the truth. That what he once believed was a shared life had perhaps always been for her a performance. So why do they stay? If the love is gone and the partnership is broken, what keeps them bound together? The answer is as cold as it is simple: the titles. For Meghan, the title of Duchess of Sussex is more than just a name. It's her brand's oxygen. Without it, she's just Meghan Markle, an actress from a TV show competing in the overcrowded Hollywood landscape. Her entire commercial empire, the Archewell Foundation, the Netflix deals, the public speaking, is built upon the foundation of who she married. The title grants her a global platform and relevance that would otherwise be impossible to achieve. Insiders whisper that she lives in fear of the one thing that could take it all away. And that fear is well-founded, because across the Atlantic the palace is watching. King Charles, it is rumored, has quietly debated the nuclear option, stripping them of their Duke and Duchess titles. The Queen had already removed their royal duties, but the titles remained. Now Charles is reportedly considering cutting that final symbolic thread. For the monarchy, it would be the ultimate act of reclamation, severing them from the institution for good. For Meghan, it would be a catastrophe. As one royal aide bluntly put it, if Harry lost his title tomorrow, you would see her entire empire crumble in real time. Every public appearance, every speech, every carefully curated moment is not just about staying in the headlines. It's a strategic defense and insurance policy against the day the palace decides to snip that thread. And what of Harry in all this? For him, the titles are a prison of his own making. They are the last remaining link to the life he willingly abandoned. The family, the country, the military roles he loved. To walk away from his marriage now would be to admit publicly and catastrophically that he gave it all up for nothing, that he traded a kingdom for a gilded cage of his own construction. His pride is now the lock on the door, so they remain in this agonizing stalemate. She stays for the relevance the title provides, and he stays, because the illusion that it was all worth it is the only thing he has left. They are partners on a legal document, but strangers in the same room, bound together not by love or loyalty, but by a brand name that is already slipping from their grasp. This is why their end won't be dramatic. There will be no shocking divorce announcement or televised separation. The finale of Harry and Meghan will be a slow, quiet fade to black. You'll see fewer joint appearances. The interviews will become more and more just Meghan, while Harry recedes further into the background. The smiles will become shorter. The eye contact will become rare, until one day people will simply realize they haven't been seen together in years. Their story will end not with a bang, but with a whisper. And when that final curtain falls, their paths will diverge completely. Meghan will do what she has always done best. She will reinvent herself. There will be new projects, new causes, a new identity crafted for the public. She will continue to perform because the stage is her lifeblood. But Harry, the man who once spoke of wanting a quieter life away from the spotlight, will likely get his wish in the most painful way possible. He will disappear. He'll retreat to a quiet corner, perhaps far from Hollywood, away from the cameras and the relentless noise, maybe even far from her. Their great royal rebellion began with a vow to write their own story, but it's ending in a state of royal exhaustion. Some couples fight until they shatter. Others just slowly stop trying. And the world is now watching in heartbreaking slow motion as the last ember of a love that burned too bright finally flickers and goes out.